I am going to turn it over to Ken Jackson, who I am sure is going to be waking us all up.
I am. Well, I definitely appreciate it. So a couple things. First of all, I really appreciate you having me. And can everyone hear me? Because I talk kind of loud, want to make sure.
Yep.
Okay. So a couple things. You can unmute yourself because I'm going to be asking questions. We're going to be playing, some trivia games, things like that. So I'm encouraging you to turn your cameras on, let everybody see you, say hello. I mean, unless you're in your dun-dun-duns and, the hair ain't right, I get you. But at least turn your mic on so we can have fun and communicate with each other. Again, unless maybe you have a parrot or something that only knows bad words and says them whenever, then you might not want to. But everyone else, turn on your microphones, okay? We're going to have fun today. Again, I appreciate you having me. I'm born and raised here in Albuquerque, New Mexico. Never in a million years did I think I'd be doing what I'm doing right now. As a matter of fact, many of my teachers said I talk too much, but now I'm able to utilize that talent or skill, if you will, for the good of people and people's futures. I got a degree in electronics and computer engineering years ago, and we'll kind of touch on that a little bit. But I love what I do because through the years, as I was working for a major company, I began to just realize a few things, and we're going to talk about that. But my mindset changed, and we're going to discuss mindset, and it's called the infinite mindset. I'm going to share my screen with you and get started. But what I want to do is help you open your mind so you can then open some of the students that you talk to and that you work with, because a lot of times we've been taught, believe it or not, programmed to have kind of a closed mind to a lot of things. And with the way things are going nowadays and into the future, technology is happening. Some of us like it, some of us don't, but it's something that's going to happen. So let me share my screen with you and then we'll get started. Is everybody ready? Yes?
Yes.
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 Another yes. Give me one more.
Yes.
Okay. All right.
Yes.
Let me share my screen with
Yes.
you.
Yeah.
All right. Okay. And I believe, don't look at the gray hair in my head. And I believe we're all set. Can everybody see my screen?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes. Yes.
Thank you very much. All right. That's what I'm saying. All right. So let's kick things off with trivia time. We're going to have fun today. I enjoyed this and let's have fun, but let's learn, let's absorb some information, share with each other, because as we share, then we can now share with the youth and those young adults that really need our help. Okay. So trivia time. All right. So let's look at this and let's take our time with it here. All right. If I told you that I was a multimillionaire and I was going to give you $1 million, okay, right? Yay, $1 million. Would you rather have $1 million literally today? Like, boom, it's in your account. I'm sending it. It's done. Or would you rather have a penny doubled for 30 days in total? Now, think about this. So some people say, yes, I'd rather have $1 million. So how many people would say they want $1 million? Say aye.
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 Aye. Aye.
All right, right. I got it because, if I could get that mill. So here's the thing. I ask this question all the time. Now, how many people would rather have the penny doubled?
Penny.
Penny.
Aye.
Penny? Okay. Here's the thing. Let's look at what this equates to. And some of you may have heard this before. Some of you may not. But when you have a penny doubled for 30 days, after the 30 days, it actually equates to over $5 million. And when I first saw this, right, I'm not a mathematician. Like, let's just get that established. I mathed this out and like, oh my goodness, 30 days. Now, why do I use this? Many times, whether it's ourselves or the students, especially the students, they don't understand that it's okay to start small, right? It's okay to be that penny doubled, whether it be business or even in education. Everybody wants to get their education immediately, get done with it, so then they go out and they can just start. But what needs to happen is it's okay to start small. Does that make sense? Yes?
Yes.
Okay. So when talking to students, and again, even with yourself, many times we want to get to the end result because we can see it and we want it really bad. But if we just take our time with things and just be the penny doubled, it's okay, right? Despise not small beginnings. So it's okay to start small. So that's where I started. And we're going to talk a little bit about that. Okay. What I want to look at first is mindset. And I never really, I didn't understand this till I really started getting into it. So what is mindset and what does that mean? Well, let's define it. Mindset is a set of beliefs or a way of thinking that determines one's behavior, outlook, and mental attitude. And we're going to keep reviewing this because a lot of times our mindset could be different and we could get different results because we take different actions. So let's look at this. What people don't really understand is that we are programmed. And I've said this, I say this to people at the place I used to work, like, dude, we're just being programmed, right? And like, no, we're not being programmed. We know exactly, but we are. And let me just kind of show you how this works, okay? Everyone has seen this picture and or have been in this situation, right? We've been programmed to believe this is normal, right? Get up, get dressed, get in traffic, go to work, and then you're in the same traffic. Like literally the lady that you were driving beside, you can like wave to her on your way to work and your way back home, right? So this is what we've been programmed to believe is actually normal, right? Normal is waking up every morning at a time you don't want to, then getting dressed in clothes that you only bought for work, getting in a car you're still making payments on to sit in traffic, en route to a job you probably don't like, so you can pay for the clothes, the car, rent on the house you leave empty all day just so you could afford to live there. That's what we've been told normal is. And when you're looking at, and when you're talking to kids, there's a certain way of life that they may see as normal. Okay. Does this make sense? Yes?
Yes.
Okay. So for me, I was no different. Like I said, I went to school. I would say I got good grades, but they were good enough. That I was that kid. I went to school, got good grades. I got my degree, and I ended up at Intel. So in 1992, long time ago, I'm the brother in the middle there, without the blue face. That's me. Worked for Intel Corporation, and yes, it was awesome, right? And I learned a lot, but while I was there, I just began to see different things. And my mindset was just like everyone else when it came to what we do and how we saw things. What I didn't know and I didn't realize is there was a difference within different mindsets between what people call assets and liabilities. And the reason why I'm taking you through this part of the journey is because this is what we're still teaching in a lot of ways. We just don't know that we're teaching kids this. And a lot of us were taught the exact same thing, okay? So let's look at the difference between assets and liabilities. So assets, a useful or valuable thing or person, okay? Or quality of value that can be converted into cash that provides current, future, or potential income benefits, or economic benefits, excuse me. So here's the thing. When you look at assets, whether it be your education, whether it be your talents or skills that you have, it is an asset. But we like to look at financial assets. Your house, we look at investing, buy crypto, just saying. Now, let's look at liabilities. A liability is a debt or financial obligation, also can be a person, thing whose presence or behavior is likely to cause embarrassment, okay, or put one at a disadvantage. So I want to go over this because a lot of times we miss the value of having assets in our life, and we're taught, believe it or not, to really look at the liabilities and go after those first. So how do those look, right? You get the job, you start buying stuff. What I like to call it is the golden shovel, okay? And here's the reality. We've all picked up the golden shovel, okay? So Ken, that means? Well, what that means is once we get that check, and this is what kids are looking at nowadays, right? Is they want the shoes, they want to look good, the jewelry and everything else. Now they're strapped in and they're holding that golden shovel. That golden shovel comes along with credit cards. It comes along with not just the new car, but the new car with leather interior, with the warming seats and the steering wheel that gets hot. Don't know why you need that, but some people like it. Okay, I get it. And we buy all of that. Okay, and I did too. One of the examples that I always like to tell people is, look, we buy emotionally. And the kids that you're talking to, right, they're going to have that same emotion, and they will be tempted to pick up that golden shovel. I mean, we're sold and we're taught to. And what that leads to is basically empty pocketbook, right? And when we buy things emotionally, it's something that is just programmed within us, okay? Limbic side of the brain says emotion, right? The other side, it says that you need to do things logically. The neocortex is the logical side, right? But we don't use that. We use the emotional side first, then we justify it with the neocortex side of the brain, and we make that purchase. Think of it like this. Have you ever wondered why there are mirrors in shoe stores? Like, just ponder that for a sec. The mirror that's usually, and I'm going to date myself here, back in the day, they have mirrors on the floor so you can see your shoes. Well, why do I need a mirror to see my shoes? Because I'm not going to walk around looking down at my shoes. Well, what I want to make sure is that these shoes look good on me to you. That's an emotional purchase, right? So it has nothing to do with the comfort of the shoe. I just want to make sure it looks good. So I'm going to justify it by saying, okay, it's kind of comfortable, but ultimately in that mirror, the way you're going to be looking at me in these shoes, I'm going to get these shoes, the golden shovel. Okay. So I had the exact same mindset. I was no different. Now you guys are going to laugh at this, and this is okay. I went out, and especially at Intel back in the day, we were just taught to buy, right? Like everything, you could go to a car lot and just say where you work, and they would just, just give you stuff. So I'm going to show you what I did, because I was no different. All right. I know you guys are going to laugh, and it's okay. Okay. Ready? Okay. Boom. That's your boy. That was me back in the day, right? Okay. So here's the reality of this whole picture. All right. I know, right? High top fade, because I had it going on. Now it's all gray. Okay. So here's the deal. That car I'm sitting on, I believe the power of attraction, law of attraction. I really wanted that particular car. Okay. And I got it. It was a Porsche. Okay. And I really like that car. Okay. Then let me tell you the reality of said car. Okay. So when I got the car, no one talked to me about interest rates. Okay. So I got the car, and then I finally looked at the interest rate, and it was 17%. So let's just go through this. I'm definitely under 25 at this time, right? I was paying $400 for the car payment and an additional $425 for the insurance. But I look good at times, okay? Now, because I worked at Intel and I'm holding the golden shovel, right? We're still teaching kids, got to look good. Everyone was buying toys. I liked motorcycles. So a bunch of my friends, we decided to go buy motorcycles. So the motorcycle that you see next to me, and here's the other catch. We couldn't buy used because we're going to buy new, right? Because they talk you into it like, hey, the payment will be cheaper, all of it. I bought it all, okay? So I bought the motorcycle. The motorcycle was an additional $350, and then another $200 for the insurance. And then the house behind me, I had to pay rent on, gas, water, electricity. And here's the hilarious part. When I started at Intel, I was making $6 an hour, okay? And then I got a raise. They gave me a quarter, right? I got a raise. So we've all heard that, and this is another term that's going to date me, to feed Peter, to starve Peter to feed Paul, right? We all know that one. Like, I became an expert at it. And here's the sad part. Because I thought it was normal. The kids you're going to be talking to, they are going to be taught that certain things are normal. And for me, this was just normal. And everyone was doing it, right? I mean, hey, if you're in debt, then I might as well be in debt, because we're going to look good being in debt, right? We've got the golden handcuffs, we've got the golden shovel. And a lot of times, the pocketbook was empty. The reason why I share this story is because it's part of the mindset and how we think and how we view things. Okay. Does that make sense? Yes.
Yes.
Thank you.
Yes.
All right.
Yes.
Okay, so here's the thing. My mindset had to change. And this is where the shift began to really start happening. So when I started really looking at the difference between assets and liabilities, I started really going over my mindset. What were my beliefs? How did I think, right? The things that I was thinking, they were determining how I would act, my behavior, and my outlook. And that just really contributed to my mental attitude. So there was a shift that I had to make, okay? So I'm going to share this with you. And again, you're going to laugh because my mindset shifted. And I thought, yo, I can't keep paying for this car. And actually it broke and it cost me $1,000 to get it fixed. And I'm like, yo, can't do this anymore. So let me show you what I bought. Don't laugh. Nah, you're going to laugh. Boom, that's what I bought. Okay, let me just tell you a little bit about this hot rod. This is a Ford Festiva. So when I went to the dealership to trade in the Porsche Ford Festiva, the guy who sold me the car was laughing just as hard as you are right now. Okay, but let me just give you some details about this hot rod of a vehicle. The interior, plastic. Those of, the younger generation, back in the day, we'd have to roll the window up with a motion like this. It had that, okay? The mirror that you see right there, I only have one mirror. And this is what the guys at work used to say. They'd say, hey, Ken, why don't we just push you home? We could just do like this and just push you home and you could get there, no problem. So I took a lot of jokes, all right? And it was okay. The reason why is because then I ran the numbers and the numbers laid out like this. That car right there was only $150 a month. The insurance on that was about $120 a month. Then the motorcycle I kept for a little while and I got rid of that because my mindset changed. And what I went from was a temporary thought process to an extended process. Basically thinking of the finite compared to the infinite mindset. And the reality is when I made that shift, it changed not just my financial situation, but my thinking completely changed. And yes, I took jokes, but eventually I literally walked in, and I'm not telling anyone to do this. I walked into Intel and I quit. After 17 years, I just walked out and I quit. Haven't looked back, okay? And what I want you to understand is that when you're talking to kids, they're going to have this temporary mindset. But what I'm encouraging you to do is to give them that long-term vision, okay? Finite compared to infinite, okay? Still with me, yes? Are you guys still laughing?
Yes.
We're
Still here.
Okay, all right. All right, so let's talk about this. Finite versus infinite, okay? Short-term, long-term. So let's define finite, having limits or bounds. When you're playing like a finite game, each player has a finite number of options. The number of players is finite and the game cannot go on indefinitely, right? There's a start and a stop, chess, checkers, football, basketball, soccer, right? There's a time frame. It's going to eventually end. But when you have an infinite mindset, it's limitless, endless, okay? Infinite game, the player, they come and they go. The rules are changeable and there are no defined endpoints, okay? There are no winners or losers. There's only ahead or behind. So I started looking at things where I'm not competing with someone for a job all the time, right? It's more of, I just want to get ahead. Well, if I've got a mindset to basically get ahead, not ahead of people, but ahead in what I'm doing, then I've got a limitless thought process, right? Business or politics, life itself. If you can shift from having this finite type of thinking that, I've got to be better than Joe, or I've got to be better than they are, because once I get there, it's, it's done. It's like, there's no winner in careers, right? there just isn't. There's just life. And I began to shift my mindset and it just changed everything, okay? So when looking at it, it's understanding the game you're in and play to stay in the game. right? This will affect the decisions that you make and how you see the world. So every day, like, I'm happy every day. I've got an infinite mindset. If something goes wrong today, it's just going to get better later in the day, right? If something goes wrong at the end of the day, when I wake up tomorrow, it's just going to be a new day. Things are going to get better. Because if you can understand the game, a lot of times we take finite thought processes into an infinite game and vice versa. But if you can understand the game that you're in, then it's going to be easier to take and really easier to deal with. Okay. So let's take a look at this. What helped me through is I looked at opportunities, ideas, and the myths. So when you're looking at this infinite mindset, this is what helped me really understand and really put into play the differences. So trivia time. All right. Okay. You guys answer if you know the answer to the question. All right. All right. So does everyone know what this is?
A waffle iron.
Waffle iron. Nailed it. All right. Okay. So here, let's talk about the idea. All right. A lot of times kids have ideas, and as silly as they may sound, what we need to do is really look at them, because this idea solved a problem, believe it or not. Okay. All right, here we go. These two guys, boom. Do you know who these guys are? Who are we?
No idea.
No idea. Okay.
Mr. Waffle and Mr. House.
Okay, I can dig it. No, it's not, but I like that. Never got that one before. All right, so here's the deal. These two guys changed the world with that waffle iron, okay? One was an athlete, the other one had an idea. The one that was an athlete, he was a runner and he did not have traction on his shoes. The other guy said, hey, let me try some. He takes this waffle iron, he pours rubber in the waffle iron, and then he puts it on the bottom of a shoe, and it worked. That sounds stupid, doesn't it? Like, who would do that? That sounds really silly. And here's the thing, whether it's yourself or if it's kids that you're talking to, some of the silliest ideas change the world. Because what these guys ended up doing was creating Nike. So they took that's them, okay? This is in the Nike Museum. Said waffle iron ended up being the pattern to the bottom of the runner's shoe. That's got to be the dumbest thing I've ever heard. But it was an idea. So a lot of times we hear these things, and think of it like this. Everything that is around us is proof of someone's imagination. So before we discredit or look down or laugh at, I mean, because it's okay, this is hilarious, right? Let's really think about, is it going to solve a problem? So when it comes to science, when it comes to these kids in STEM, and they're solving problems. And just because we have not been taught, we've been programmed on what normal is. So when someone brings this kind of idea or concept to us, it's like, oh my gosh, your programming takes over and your instinct is like, no, that ain't gonna work. But if these guys had said, hey, if you give me $5,000, I've got this idea about a waffle iron and putting rubber in it, and I could possibly make you millions, you probably wouldn't have done it. But this is what it turned into. So when you, especially nowadays, with the opportunities that kids have with investing and all of it, right? Crypto assets, all of it. It all sounds bizarre, but I'm telling you, it's real. Okay? Still with me? Yes?
Yes.
Thank you.
Yes.
Yes.
All right. So
Yes.
let's talk about the myth. Okay? Let's talk about the myth. There's a myth out there when it comes to new ideas. All right? I know you guys are going to laugh, but I want you to answer this question. Boom. Does this guy look like an expert?
Which one?
Oh, okay. So
Yes, 100%.
here's the thing. Is it the high top tennis shoes, the jean shorts, the polo shirt, or the fact that this guy's looking at this horse like, what am I doing on this horse? Okay. Here's the thing. In case you didn't know, that's me. All right. Years ago, I used to import horses from Chihuahua, Mexico. Okay. Now, I know the first thought is, yo, why would you do that, man? Well, because I had different ideas. My friends and I, we started thinking, hey, how can we make extra money? Well, I don't know. How about horses? We started out with steers. In reality, we started out with steers, found out that it takes too long to quarantine and you got to have a brand. And oh my goodness. Well, then our next thought was, well, how do we get to the horses? Go directly to the source. So we would drive back and forth to Chihuahua, Mexico. We look at horses, come back, go back, buy them, and we buy horses. That horse right there is one of our horses. Now, here's the catch to all this. I don't know anything about horses, man. I don't even speak Spanish fluently. The guys I'm with, they don't speak Spanish either, right? Like, you know, in bad words. We're from Burke, so, you know, we know the bad words, but not like fluent. But we learned enough to actually get there, buy horses, bring them back, feed them, then take them to the Los Lunas auction and pay someone $15 to ride the horse around during the auction. Here's the myth. You have to know everything before you do anything. And it's not true. It's not true at all. A lot of the kids that you're going to be talking to, even you yourself, right? I can't do it till I learn everything. I need to have everything down pat. I need to, no, you don't. No, you don't. In a lot of cases, some cases, possibly, but come on, man. No, you don't. What am I doing on this horse, right? I mean, I couldn't get on the horse right now and ride. Here's the other hilarious part. They used to talk about like the 15 hands high, and it was like just 4. And I'm like, whose hands are that big? How do you measure a horse with your hands, right? I didn't know anything about it. But what I did know is after we ran the numbers, there could be a profit in us driving there, buying a horse, quarantining it, bringing it back, and selling it. That's simple. There's nothing complicated to that. So the myth is you have to know everything before you do anything, and it's just not true. Okay. And that particularly, I'll go guys, tell you guys, that horse scared me to death. And it's not like we're dealing with Clydesdales here. We're not. But it was a cool horse. But that day, I'll tell you later, wow, that horse scared me. Okay. So no, not an expert. All right. One of the other things that we did was we actually we opened up a cell phone store. And again, I didn't listen to the myth. That to me, that was stupid. Like I'm not doing it. So what I was doing one day was in the newspaper. I was looking in the business section, and it said, "Own your own cell phone store. Call this guy." Oh, well, anybody can make a phone call. A phone call. Well, about 2-3 months later, we've got a cell phone store in Rio Rancho, right? And here are the phones, right? You guys remember these? Boom. You guys remember these? And with this little one right here, you do like this. Hey, dog, what's going on? Hey, what's happening, man? Hey, what's going on? And what's hilarious, I still see people doing that now. But this right here, big seller. This one right here, big seller. So here's the thing. The question is, well, how did this happen? Okay, where did the money come from? That's the other thing, right? You're looking at, right, an 18-year-old, 19-year-old, and they're wondering how do we get the money? Well, this is what we did. You guys remember these leather cases? So we ordered about 500 of these leather cases. Then we went to the flea market. So this is before we opened up. We went to the flea market, and I walked around, and there were like, I don't know, 10 different booths that were selling these leather cases, but they were selling them for $10. So let's just be smart about it. In all reality, these were a quarter. Okay, we were selling them. Anyway, they're a quarter. All right. Well, we don't need to sell them for $10. We can sell them for $8. That's what we did. We sold leather cases for $8. We got our first and last month's rent, and then we opened up our store. Now, mind you, this is all while I'm still working at Intel, and I worked at night. So I would work all night. I'd come home. I sleep for about 3 hours. I get up, I run a business, and then I go to sleep for another 3 or 4 hours. And then I get up and I go to work all night. Okay. Straight up hustle. So a lot of times when you have, the younger generation say, I'm grinding, and like, are you, bro? Because you're playing video games majority of the day. Like, that's not grinding, right? I'll tell you about what grinding is. So that's how we were able to do this. And we didn't just have one. Once that one expanded in Rio Rancho, we opened up another one. And then mistakes happened. And it happens. But Were we able to pull it off? Did we have to go to cell phone school? No. Did we have to study how the memory works in every cell phone? No, we did not. I made a phone call. It was a phone call. And a lot of times with the younger generation now, they're eager to make that phone call. So I'm encouraging you to encourage them to make that phone call. Okay. And it ran for a few years. So I was really excited about it and just loved it. Did I have a question? Okay. Everybody still with me? Yes?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
All right.
Yes.
So the other thing that I like to think about, and I started reading books and trying to understand about books and wait, I apologize. I started listening to books because that's easier. And here's the other part with kids today. Some say, I don't want to read. I don't write. And I get it. It's okay to listen to books. All right. Get it on audio. If you can listen, and I'm a hip hop head, so if you can listen to music all day and memorize every single word to every song, then you can listen to a book. Right. A lot of people are like, I don't have time. I think you do. You probably do. We just need to change your mindset. Okay. So what I always like to tell people is not what you're looking at, it's what you see. And one of the books that I came across, I don't remember how I found the book, but one of the books, and I encourage everybody to listen to this book, is Who Moved My Cheese, right? This one, and some of you have heard about this book, maybe have read it. A lot of times what I found out is that major organizations or corporations will give this to their staff employees when a change is about to happen, right? And it's about dealing with change. So what I'm talking about is your maze, right? And the youth that you're talking to, you yourself, we all have a maze. We're all in a different maze. Everyone's maze is different. It's some are complicated, some are easier than others. And when I started looking at this book, and it's a very short listen or short read, it was really cool because I began to really understand that, well, my maze is different and it's okay. And some of the things that I got out of the book really stuck with me. Okay. So one of the phrases in the book is adapt to change quickly. The quicker you let go of old cheese, the sooner you can enjoy new cheese. So from my mindset, I've tried different businesses. Some worked. Well, they all worked. It's just they didn't last. Okay. But what I begin to really understand is how to adapt to the change. And a lot of times, especially what the world just went through with the situation with the pandemic, a lot of people, and I just sometimes I find this amusing, people like, I want to go back to normal or when are we going to get back to what normal was? And then my thought process is, honestly, did you even like the way it was before? Like, you know what I mean? And because back, 10 years ago, people were complaining about what normal was, but then all of a sudden they lose that normal and they're trying to adapt. So if you can encourage kids just to adapt to change, it's okay. Some changes are good. So, you have to deal with it. But the quicker you can adapt, the sooner you can enjoy what's coming to you. Okay. Right. It's safer to search in the maze than remain in a cheeseless situation. Okay. And we can adapt this to all kinds of things, relationships, your job, all of it. But when it comes to a child, right? When you go to graduations, the question I always hear people ask the graduate is, well, what are you going to do now? Right. Or what's next? And I just find it hilarious because the majority of the people that are asking that question, they don't even know what they're going to do next. They have no idea. And I just find it amusing that, they're in cheeseless situations, but they're asking an 18-year-old, like, what are your plans? Like, dude, I just graduated. Like, I don't have plans right now, and it's okay. It's okay not to have those plans is what I'm saying. But should you plan? Sure. But a lot of times they don't know and it's okay. All right. So it's okay to search in your maze, right? The find out who you are situation, find out the things that you want to do. And we're going to talk about that a little bit later. Okay. Now, this one stuck with me for a very long time, still is, right? What would you do if you weren't afraid? Like right now, what would you do if you just weren't afraid? And you start thinking about everything and the possibilities. Well, that's the way kids are thinking. Like they're not afraid. And some may be, but what if you just asked a child, like, what would you do if you weren't afraid? The question that I tend to ask, I ask grownups this all the time, right? Is if money, time, and health weren't an issue, what would you rather be doing right now? That's the way I phrase that one, right? What would you do if you weren't afraid? And here's the catch: mindset. Just admit you are afraid, and it's okay, but we can get through it. Okay. And then the other one is, when you move beyond your fear, you feel free. And I'm just trying to tell you, the day that I walked out of Intel, first of all, I just cried, right? But the weight was off my shoulders, and there was this freeing feeling. And some of you within your maze, if you're at a job you love, and that's awesome, then I just want you to know that you can feel free being in that situation. Okay. And with the youth, it's a matter of helping them understand that, okay, it's okay to be afraid. How do we get past it? What can we do to help you understand the changes that are going to be happening from you graduating to now you're out in the real world? Okay. Or now you got to go to college, or you're going to have to go to college in another state, or you're going to go to a tech school. I went to a tech school. Those are all changes. But these are just some of the terms and phrases that I just really, I allowed to set in, and I really focused on the afraid and then that free feeling. Okay. Everybody still with me? Yes?
Yes.
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 Okay. Right
Yes.
on. Okay. Right on. All right. So let's look at your maze. There's victory and there's fulfillment. And this goes along the lines of the finite and infinite thought process, right? So within your maze, whatever it is for you, you want those victories. I get it. A lot of people may not believe in fulfillment. Like, dude, that's just not possible. I'm just in this maze, and that's okay. But there is fulfillment. And that's what I really started thinking about, is where does the fulfillment come from? Okay. And how can I be more fulfilled within my life? And what can I do to get there? Okay. So victory, fulfillment. Let's look at victory. An act of defeating an enemy or an opponent in a battle, game, or other competition, right? I beat you. We tried, we raced, I won. We're playing chess, I won. It's that simple, okay? But fulfillment is something completely different, right? The satisfaction or happiness as a result of fully developing one's abilities or character. Abilities or character. Who will you become? So a lot of times when I'm talking to kids, it's not a matter of what you can do, but who's the person you really want to become in the end. And a lot of the things that I've done business-wise, even with work, it was turning me into a different person. And I just didn't want to be that person. That wasn't fulfilling to me. And sometimes you may understand what the person is turning you into, but the abilities to actually get there, you may struggle with. So when you look at this fulfilling, this feeling of fulfillment and then victory along the way, I get it, right? But kids nowadays, they're searching for that quick win, that victory. But if you could help them understand fulfillment, and here's the other part, believe that it's possible. Okay, and we're going to talk about possible, impossible, but it starts with you really believing that every day you can wake up satisfied and happy. And yes, things are still going to go wrong, but it's possible. Okay, so fulfillment is what I really started looking for. All right. So let's talk about long-term fulfillment. We're going to trivia time again, and we're going to play another game. Who are we? All right, everybody ready?
Yes.
Yes. Yes. Boom. Yes. I'll let your boy. Yes. Okay.
Yes.
So who are we? Okay. Now, this is what I want you guys to think about. When you see the picture, think of this. If any of these individuals or all of them came up to you and said, hey, if you've got $2,000, I could help you make a lot of money with this crazy idea I got. Okay. Okay. Ready? Wait for it. Boom. Oh.
Nope.
Okay. You're not giving these cats any money. You're just not. Don't say you are, because you're not. You're not. And here's one of the reasons. And this is what I want you guys to think about. Here's the reality. We all judge. It's just part of life, right? We're going to look at this group of individuals and go, bruh, I'm not giving you no money, right? right? And that's reality. So even with you and especially the kids that you're talking to, right? It's going to be hard not to judge them, especially if you've worked with them, right? And you know them in a sense. But I'm encouraging you not to, because this group of people, again, changed the world. Like, yo, all of them, okay? Let me tell you who they are. Ready? Yes?
Yes.
Yes. Yes.
Boom. Boom.
Yes.
This is a picture of the original 11 employees with Microsoft. This is Microsoft right here. The geeky guy in the bottom left corner, that's Bill Gates. Okay? Right here in Albuquerque, New Mexico. I didn't know this till I really started looking into it. Now, here's the crazy part. When you're talking to kids, when I am, right? What I like to explain to them is this group of individuals, they were the penny doubled. They were the ones that had the infinite mindset. They were the ones in search of fulfillment, not just victory. And they started right here in Albuquerque, where people, half America don't even know we're here. Because a lot of times kids like, well, dude, how can I make something here? I'm on the Albuquerque. I should be in a bigger city or a bigger city. And I get it. But look what could happen right here, right? And even it gets crazier. Bill has been quoted saying he would like to see a computer on every desk in every home running Microsoft software. Like, dude, that's dumb. That ain't gonna happen. No one even knows what a computer is. And this internet thing, I'm not putting my information on the internet. It could be stolen. It could, right? Think about it. Think real hard. Everyone thought that was the dumbest thing ever. But with an infinite mindset and you focus, it could change everything. And I just believe our youth today deserve an opportunity without someone saying, hey, that ain't gonna work. Does that make sense to you guys? It's a matter of changing your mindset, okay? Right here in Albuquerque. And now they're all millionaires. I mean, some with a B, right? So again, what is mindset? Mindset is a set of beliefs. They believed in what they were doing. Their thinking determined their actions, their behaviors, and it changed their outlook, right? They had an infinite outlook on things. And the mental attitude was just different. And some of the kids you run into, they already have it. But because we've been programmed to think a certain way, we're looking at them like, I don't know. This Bitcoin thing, I don't know. Crypto, you can't see it, can't touch it, I don't know. But they get it. They get it. And I'm just encouraging you to encourage them to look more into it. So for me, that's what I started doing. I started really thinking like, okay, how and where do I find this sense of fulfillment? How does this work, right? So I started thinking, and I'm pondering, and I'm wondering, like, yo, there's got to be a better way. This has got to be a better way. This can't be it. So I started thinking, then it hit me, well, let's look at the infinite game, because I've been playing a finite game. Well, in the infinite game, the players come and go. The rules are changeable. There's no defined endpoint. There are no winners or losers, right? So now I'm not competing, right? In your workplace, it's always who's better. I never like that. Like, we would compete to find out who was better to win something that wasn't even ours, right? Like, man, I used to tell people, dude, I'm not arguing with you over this. Like, the owner is never going to come and thank us. The CEO is not coming off his yacht and shake your hand and say, hey, good job, buddy. It's not happening. It's not. But within that situation, if I could have had an infinite mindset, then maybe things would have been different. So I'm starting to think to myself, how do I figure this out? Right? Get ahead or beyond. How can I just get ahead? Right? Not ahead of someone, but just ahead of where I am right now. So I started mathing it, right? And I'm mathing it. This is what was going on in my brain. Not really, but it's just cool to think about, right? This smart people stuff, science. I'm sciencing in this, right? And I'm running all this through my head. And I'm thinking, yo, there's got to be a formula. There's got to be. something I can figure out to help me with this situation. And a lot of kids are trying to figure this out. How do I get to the next step? What is that next step? Well, let's look at this. And what I came up with after listening to books and really doing some investigating, I came up with a thought process, and I just thought, well, what if there was a formula? What if there was a way to lay this out to where I could at least find some sort of purpose? And this is what I came up with. So there are certain things that I really love to do. We call them passions, right? And it's not just passion. What I always like to do is ask people, what would you do for free that just drove you, where money wasn't a thing? Like, what would you do for free? That's that passionate part. Then I thought, well, if I tossed in what little talents I have, and I can maybe improve on those talents, could I get better? And I thought, well, the other thing is, we've all heard this term, it's not what you know, it's who you know, right? Like, who am I hanging with? And who do I need to know to help me get to where I want to go? So I added that in. Now, the bigger part was just taking the action, right? A lot of times, right, people lay out plans, and this goes back to the myth, I got to know everything before I do anything. No, but if you lay out the formula, and the last part of it is action, I thought, well, wow, I can take action, and maybe that might get me to my purpose. So this is the formula that I used, okay? And there's a handout, and it goes through all of this, but let's just take a look at this and really define each part of this. So what is passion? Showing or caused by strong feelings or strong belief. And sometimes it's not the things that you love, it could be things that anger you. What drives me a lot is what I saw and what I've been seeing when it comes to the possibilities in life. That angers me. So for me, I love talking about what's possible, and what you do with it is totally up to you. So that was part of my passion. Now, talent, natural aptitude or skill. So real talk, I don't have like a talent. Like I have friends that can sing, play piano, like majority of my family, like they sing, and like I don't have really this talent or this skill. So I had to hunt that down in all reality. But I believe everyone has a talent or skill that can be built upon, okay, and can be expanded. So association, now this was a big one, and we're going to talk about this one, right? A connection or cooperative link between people or organizations. It's easy, man. Who you running with? Who you hanging out with? Like, and who do you need to know? And how do you get there? Okay. And then the action, the fact or process of doing something, typically to achieve an aim or a goal, right? You have to take action. All right. So let's lay it out. What's your success formula? It's going to be different for everyone. Maybe you're going to take some of these, some parts of the equation out. Maybe you will, maybe you won't. But there's a process to it. And I started literally living this process. It was the craziest thing ever. All of the businesses last 30 plus years, I was like in process of just trying to determine this and figure this out and what it meant. So let's look at this. First, the passion, showing or caused by strong feelings or a belief, a strong belief in something. Now, as Jeff mentioned before, I've done talks for the MLK State Commission here, and I do a talk on the nonviolence, right? On what nonviolence is, and I go through his MLK's 6 principles of nonviolence. The one that sticks with me the most is number 4, accept suffering without retaliation for the sake of the cause to achieve the goal. Okay? So for me, what does this mean? Well, there will be times that you will have to deal with some struggle, right? And with that struggle comes the possibility of some sort of retaliation, of rebellion, and you have to fight that part because you have a cause and you have a goal. A lot of times, many people don't have a cause and they don't have a goal. And when you're talking to kids, what if we could help them figure that out, right? If we can help a child understand, a young adult understand that, okay, if this is your cause and this is your goal, then you're going to go through struggle. It's going to happen. But if you can go through the struggle, then you will understand in the end because you have a cause and you have a goal. So for me, that's what I really focused on. So what I always encourage people to do is write down 5 to 10 things that you're passionate about, right? That will help you develop that infinite mindset. And here's the thing, dealing with hurdles and issues and roadblocks, that comes with life, man. But you telling young adult that's okay. But what if we could help them understand what gives you strong feelings? What do you believe in? Whatever that is for you, right? Something that may give you fulfillment, issues that are bigger than you. And if you can focus on those like he did, then when you're going through these struggles, it's going to be a lot easier to get through because you're focused on the cause and the goal. Does that make sense? Yes? Still with me?
Yes.
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 Okay.
Yes.
All right. I'm making sure. Okay. All right. Let's look at the next step. Talents. Talent, natural aptitude or skill. So this is very simple. People may have told you that you're talented. You may feel you're talented at different things. I just encourage you to write this stuff down, right? Make it known. Make it known on tablets. Write it down, right? What do you have flair at? What do you feel that you have this aptitude, this skill? What do you feel that you offer to the public or to the world? Bringing that value to the world, okay? Because everyone has value. We just have to be able to understand where it is within us so we can let it out, okay? So just write it down, all right? Now, association. Now, this one's kind of big because people are like, well, I'm not gonna stop hanging out with my boys and all that. So let's just look at association. A group of people organized for a joint purpose, connection, or link between people or organizations. Your clique, your crew, who you're running with. Now, the way I like to explain this, okay, and I'm going to date myself, and it's okay for you guys to laugh, right? I like to use music and sports, all right? So let's just look at the power of association in music, okay? All right, wait for it. Boom, music. All right, we all remember the group NSYNC, right? Boom, right? We remember NSYNC, okay? Great group, millions of dollars. But we also know who Justin Timberlake is, right? Left said group and boom, blew up. He changed his association. Does that make sense? Because boy was in, he's bad. That's a bad boy, right? NSYNC great, Justin Timberlake greater.
Woohoo.
Right? Okay, right? Everybody like JT? Yeah, that's a bad boy. All right, okay. So here we go. Jackson 5. Boom. Boom. They getting it. Jackson 5. Awesome group. But Mike made billions by himself. Changed the association, right? It's not a bad thing, but the reality is, and this is for you too, especially with kids, because we always tell them, don't hang around that kid because he's going to get you in trouble. Here's the reality. People you're hanging around with, maybe you shouldn't. That's reality. Maybe we should all look at our association. Okay? Still with me, yes? Okay. All right, here we go. Sports. This one's kind of deep. Let's look at sports. Michael Jordan, okay? Great player, no doubt. Some say, greatest player to ever touch basketball, okay? But the Chicago Bulls, they call it dynasty. Like a dynasty. By yourself, great, but with the right team, greater. Does that make sense? Yes?
Yes.
Okay. Y'all still
Yes.
with me? All right.
Yes.
Here we go. Now, let's look at Mike as an owner. Okay. Don't know if you know this. Michael Jordan is part owner of a professional basketball team. Okay. Now, here's the thing. Great as a player, part of a dynasty, not so good as an owner. Okay. But yet still known to be the greatest player, one of the greatest players to ever touch basketball. Now, let's look at a comparison. Okay. Mark Cuban. Boom. You guys know who Mark Cuban is? I'm going to tell you. He's never played basketball professionally in his life. Okay. Businessman. Boom. He's got it. Right. With a B. Billions. Knocked it out. Decided I'm going to buy a basketball team. Okay. I need you guys to follow me on this. Great as an individual. Has a great business because he was a great businessman. But as an
Se
owner,
levantan a la chingada ya.
Alave. Okay. Okay, so hold on. So, but as an owner, his team has won a championship. So let's look at the comparisons here. The person that is known to be the greatest player to ever touch a basketball owns a team that has never won a championship. The guy who is known as a geek, good businessman, owns a basketball team, has won a championship. Why? See, because what Mark figured out were the people around him were more important than he was in that game. Michael Jordan's team has never won a championship. How is that possible, dude? You're the greatest player on the planet. Like, what happened? He hasn't put the right people together. Mark Cuban figured it out. The reason why I use both of these types of association is because when you're talking to kids and even yourself, right? Yes, you're great with a group, but sometimes you may need to be by yourself, and it's okay. Sometimes you're by yourself and you're struggling and you may need help. Just put the right people around you to be successful. Who are you associating with? That is what's important. And let's just keep it simple. There is a certain clown that is part of a certain burger place that used to have a bunch of friends back in the day. And I want all the old heads here are going to remember this, right? He used to have a bunch of friends, all in the commercials. The little girl with the pigtails, the professor, right? The little robber guy, the big purple guy. He used to have all these friends. When was the last time you seen that clown with all those friends on a commercial? You haven't. You know why? Mm-hmm. It's very simple, because even a clown knows when he has to get rid of friends. That makes sense? So if you're telling said child that he shouldn't hang around said people, think of it for yourself too. Does that make sense? Yes?
Yeah.
Okay, let's run. All right, so keep it simple. Write down the names of the 5 people you associate with the most. Okay? It's that simple. And no, I'm not telling you drop your friends and, like, oh, dude, kids, right? I'm going to keep being me, yo, and I'm going to, right? Here's what I tell them. Look, if doing you has not gotten you where you want to be, then maybe you should change you. Okay? And who you associate with. All right. So the action, we're going to take action now. Boom. We're going to get in it. So what is action? The fact or process of doing something typically to achieve a goal or an aim, right? We have to take this action. What I like to do is keep it very simple. And what are some of the things that we need to look at within ourselves? I like to call it stop, start, and continue. Okay? Here's the reality. There are certain things that you need to stop doing right now. Like right now. Stop doing it to achieve what you really want, to have the fulfillment, to increase the infinite mindset, to have everything that you really want long term. There are some things you need to stop doing. And some of it is just scrolling, right? We're like, dude, kill me with the scrolling thing, right? And it's the same thing that we tell kids, right? Get off your phone, get off Facebook, blah, blah. It's all of it, right? It is. So let's be honest with ourselves and just write down 5 to 10 things that you know you need to stop doing today to achieve that goal, because you have the cause, you have the goal, and now we have to start thinking about the things we need to stop doing. Okay. And that's just reality. The way I like to look at it is, what is your relationship between the window and the mirror, right? If you have a good relationship with the window and the mirror, you're going to be okay. What do I mean by that? Is every time things go wrong, we pick up the window and we start looking through it and we start pointing, right? Things going bad. Oh, no, right? Look out. Look, it's their fault. Oh, no, that's their fault. But when things start popping off really good, bro, we're picking up that mirror and we're like, hey, bro, you did good. You're awesome. You knocked it out of the park. Switch that, right? Start being real with yourself here. Like, pick that mirror up when things are going bad and look at that person and ask that person, what could I have stopped doing so I would not be in the situation I'm in? That's what I had to do, because I had the golden shovel, man. I picked that bad boy up with everyone else. Okay? So there are some things that we need to start doing. And right, end of year is coming. We're all going to start working out again. This is hilarious, right? I get it. But there are some things you know you need to start doing. and whatever they are for you. And the same thing you can do with a young adult. Well, what are some of the things that you know that you can start doing right now to help you, right? Help you later in life. Maybe they do need to start reading more. Maybe they do need to start looking into tech schools, or maybe there's a skill set that they can actually build upon if we just talk with them about it. So what are some of the things that we can teach them to start doing today? And then the reality is, hey, we're doing some good things, right? How we're talking to kids, the way we're explaining things, continue doing those things, because this is the part that gives you that push to keep going. Like, hey, you know what? I'm doing okay with this. I can continue doing this part, and I feel that I will stop doing this, start doing this, and then I'll eventually get there. Okay, so it's a simple action plan. There's nothing complicated to any. I'm a pretty simple guy, as you guys can tell, right? But there will be some roadblocks. So what are these roadblocks? Okay, this is one of the biggest roadblocks, and everyone says it. That's impossible. Like, yo, that's impossible, man. It's not going to happen. It's not. And when I do this, I always have one or two people. You know, I was doing this at a talk one time, and I think the guy was like 70. He's like, whoa, I can't go play in the NBA. I'm like, no, bro, no, you can't. Okay, I get it. But could you be part of the NBA? So when you're looking at a child and they're thinking, yo, I can't do this is impossible. Okay, no, you can't be the football star, but can you still be part of the organization? Can you still work within the team? Because now who you associate with, the action you take, you may have the talent or skill that could get you within that organization to make you a part of football. No, you can't be the player, but can you still be successful, especially if you're passionate about it, right? It's that simple. So let's look at impossible, all right? When I saw this, I just couldn't believe it. So here's the deal. We're gonna watch a short video because most people say that's impossible, okay? All right. You guys just saw that, right? They had his cranium cracked open, and they're like doing some stuff, and he's still playing the saxophone. That's impossible. Like, complete transparency. My mom had me play saxophone when I was younger, and I wasn't good, like nowhere near that good, and like no one cracked open my brain, but maybe if they had, I'd play that good. That's impossible. What I need you guys to understand is, before we go with that's impossible, can we at least take a look at the possibilities? Before you go with ain't gonna happen, could you look at if it's happened before and can it happen again? But that's one of the biggest roadblocks, is that's impossible. Okay? Pretty cool, right? Yes?
Yes.
Yes?
Yes.
Thank you. All right, we're still in it. Okay, next roadblock.
Yes.
This is another big one. Hey, man, that's already been done. It's already been done. Don't try it. It's already been done. Just pow, pow, pow. You're just shooting down ideas like pow, 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 pow. Like, oh, Wild West. Like, nope, already been done. Pow. Already been done. Pow. Can't be done. Pow. Like, you're just crushing it, right? Okay, well, let's take a look at what's already been done. Okay? All right, here we go. Boom. Do you know who this guy is? Anyone? No?
Dyson.
Okay, who am I? Let's look at this. His situation, I heard a good call. It's already been done. This is James Dyson, okay? Now, who is James Dyson? He created this really cool vacuum cleaner. See, Dyson knew he was onto something, but it would take time to perfect his idea. 5 years, 5,127 prototypes later, He created the DC-01 vacuum, the world's first bagless vacuum cleaner. Dyson, why would you make a vacuum cleaner when there are already vacuum cleaners? That's impossible. That's dumb. Why would you do that, Dyson? See, but he just didn't listen. He had a passion. He figured out his talents. And then what he did, he's found out who he needed to associate with. Then he took some action, and now he's doing just fine. Now, here's the catch to this. 5 years later, what I've noticed is everyone wants the microwave result, okay? Think of this. Do you believe that a meal that tastes better, a meal tastes better coming out of an oven than it does a microwave, right? Microwave will feed you, but that meal that Big Mom used to make at Thanksgiving, that took time, okay? 5 years and 5,127 prototypes. See, that's the kicker. And this is with grown-ups and young adults. We never want to go through the struggle of what it's going to take to achieve our cause, to achieve our goal. But he did. Enjoy failure and learn from it. You can never learn from success. That's what Dyson said. And something the young lady said earlier that I caught. She said the power of failure. The power of failure. Trying it. Could you imagine 5,000 times, man? Like, that's a lot. Like, yo, that don't work. That one didn't work. When she said the power of failure, if you're taking notes, write this down. Fail stands for first attempt in learning. That's what fail is to me. Oh, no, dude, I just learned. Oh, that business didn't work. Oh, I learned. Horses didn't work. Oh, no, I learned. No, we made money. I learned. First attempt in learning. Something that's already done. Here, let's keep it very simple. It's okay if it's already been done, because how many different ways can you honestly make a burger? Like, yo, there's all kinds of burger joints. How many different ways can you make a cup of coffee? How many different ways can you make a pizza? Like, there's pizza places everywhere. Like, it's already been done. Don't do it. Coffee places popping up. Well, Starbucks has it. Don't do anything. It's already been done. You know, the people that are winning, the ones that aren't listening, believe it or not. So get rid of that roadblock, okay? Now, the next roadblock is, to me, one of the biggest ones. It's fear, right? Some of us may heard it right. False evidence appearing real. I always tell people you got two choices when it comes to fear. You can face everything and rise, or you can forget everything and run. It's up to you. Totally up to you. But what I want to do is let's really look at fear. And when I heard this, it's something that I love to share. And I want you guys to just listen to this, this from the movie Coach Carter, okay?
Our deepest fear is not that we are inadequate. Our deepest fear is that we are powerful beyond measure. It is our light, not our darkness, that most frightens us. Your playing small does not serve the world. There is nothing enlightened about shrinking so that other people won't feel insecure around you. We were all meant to shine as children do. It's not just in some of us, it's in everyone. And as we let our own light shine, we unconsciously give other people permission to do the same. As we are liberated from our own fear, our presence automatically liberates others.
That just touched me when I heard it. Great movie, but that part right there crushed it for me. What are the things that you're shrinking away from because you're afraid? Like in the book, what would you do if you weren't afraid? What would you do? Are you searching for that feeling of freedom? And if you are, what's the cause? What's the goal? What are you passionate about? What are your talents? Who do you need to know? And what action do you need to take? The same thing you can tell to a child. The exact same thing. You shrinking down, or this child shrinking down because the people he or she they're hanging out with may talk about them, may laugh at them. They're shrinking to other levels is not going to help them. And you encouraging it is not going to help them. So I always tell people, I will not live down to your expectations of me. I'm going to live up to what I believe I can do, to my dreams. I don't live down to your expectations. Does that make sense? Yes?
Yes.
Yes.
All right. So for me, I, again, changed my mindset. I started focusing on my cause, my goals, and I started creating this infinite mindset. So how did I end up here? I just started doing workshops for different organizations. I started doing different talks, creating the different workshops, interviews. This group of individuals right here, there's no way I should have been in the room with any of these people. These are students from major colleges in the areas of STEM and STEAM. The lady that I'm sitting next to on the right side of me, she is a professor from Duke University. These kids had master's degrees, already had PhDs. Some of them had 2. It was just crazy for me to be around these individuals. And when I did my talk, they were intrigued because they did not think from the mindset that I was bringing them. And I just felt so honored to be around these people. So I began to really look at my cause and what this means to me, being able to talk to people and not just educate, but inspire, motivate, to help them understand what the possibilities are. It's all possible, but we just need to know and identify what's possible for us. So believe it or not, 2016, I published a book, Live and Learn Your Way to Success. And the hilarious part, I like this all the time. When I was younger, I couldn't read. I struggled with reading. And that's me on the cover. I was a high jumper in that particular track meet. I actually lost. And again, when it comes to the power of failure, as the young lady mentioned before, I failed. I lost. But that day that I lost changed everything, because I couldn't afford to go to a regular college. I was not getting scholarships. It just changed everything. So those losses that you feel that you're taking, I need you to understand that maybe there's a reason why they're there. Okay. So let me close out with this. All right. The way I like to look at this is being a conductor. Okay. I got my conductor stick out. Everybody see my conductor stick? All right. So as I mentioned before, I was in the band. I was in marching band. I was getting it right. We could crush like Superman back then. I could kill it, right? Okay, or Eye of the Tiger, that was a big one. But what I noticed is that when it came to our conductor, and when you watch conductors, they're conducting, right? And some get into it, some are very calm, and they're conducting. And then some, like, bam, they're getting into it, right? And they're hitting the lows, right? Hit that high over there. The one thing that they never do is turn around and look behind them. I've just noticed that. Like, you've never seen a conductor do like this when someone leaves the room, when a cell phone goes off. So what I'm encouraging people to do is become the conductor of your life, whatever that is for you. Whatever that is for you. Okay. To conduct your orchestra, you will need to turn your back to the crowd. And this is for young adults and for you. And it's going to be one of the hardest things to do. Because what I'm simply saying is that in your life, you're going to put people, musicians, right? They're going to be playing in your orchestra. And you're going to be able to choose on who you're going to have there. But you're going to have to conduct that orchestra without looking behind you. The youth that they're talking to, some of them may have had hard lives. They're totally focused on what was. I'm encouraging you to teach them on what could be. Can you teach them? Can you become the conductor of your life? Can you play the music that you want to play? Whatever it is for you, however way it's laid out, can you take a simple formula and put together the orchestra and play the music? And that's what I encourage people to do, is just become the conductor of your orchestra. The hard part is you can't keep looking back at what happened, what was, what they did, who did what, who's saying what, scrolling through, right? You're looking at everything on social media and you're not even, it's, right? Social media it's not a blooper reel, it's a highlight reel. We all know that, right? It's a highlight reel. It's never a blooper reel, but you can't focus on that. So I'm encouraging you today just to be the conductor and conduct. Who's in your life? What are they saying? What are they doing? How can you help them? And play the music that you were put here to play. Does that make sense? Yes?
Yes.
Yes.
Awesome.
Yes.
Yes.
Conductors conduct orchestras, musicians play instruments, and I just encourage you to become the conductor and teach those to do the same. I appreciate your time.
Thank you so much, Ken. Oh, I'm hearing some
Thank you.
applause.
Thank you.
Thank you. That was awesome.
Really
Appreciate
great.
you. Appreciate you. Let me stop my share.
Do we have anybody have any questions that they want to ask Ken? Well, we still got him here. Okay. I think folks are.
Thanks again. That was great. Very inspirational, especially since I want to do a side hustle.
Hey, my hustle game
Just
is
got
the
me
way to go,
going.
right?
You got me going.
Let me just say one more thing around that. If you take notes, write this down. Dig your well before you're thirsty. Dig your well before you're thirsty. Right now, if you have a job, that's awesome. You're on your way to the right career, that's awesome. Please start digging the well now. The problem that we've been taught, we've been programmed, is that no, you don't need a well. They're going to take care of you. And with that side hustle, you're digging your well. I just started learning how to dig my well before I'm thirsty. Especially nowadays, right? This tough economic situation we're in, right? Dig your well before you're thirsty. Encourage kids to start digging the well before they're thirsty. Okay? Cool?
Great advice.